Hello makers! Today we will be learning how to make a slip knot and chain stitches. Today I am working with Bernat baby blanket yarn and a 7mm clover crochet hook. So a slip knot, to begin with, you want to make a loop with your yarn. You put your fingers through the loop and you grab onto the working yarn and you pull. Let me do that again. So we are going to make a loop. Okay. Then we're going to put our fingers through the yarn and we're going to grab the working yarn. And then we're going to grab both ends and pull. And then you can put your crochet hook through and you want to pull on the working yarn, the yarn that is coming from the ball. And then I like to use my middle finger and my thumb to hold very close to the knot I just created. I use my index finger for tension on my left hand, and I use my right index finger to hold the loop further down on the hook. And then while keeping everything relaxed from my shoulders, my neck, my hands, I'm going to yarn under and pull through. And as I make my chains, I will move my fingers higher up to ensure that I'm holding as close to the knot as possible while maintaining my tension. And I'm going to show you my preferred way to make a slip knot. I like to make a loop on my hand, use my fingers, and then I just pull through. And do that again. So I just make a loop, grab the working yarn, and pull through. Okay, let's do that one more time. So as you get used to the motions, you can make your loops smaller. Okay, and then insert my hook. And I'm going to pull the working yarn while still holding the loop onto the hook. And again, I'm going to keep everything very loose and this pull through. That's one. And that is 10 chains. And you could see the back bumps right there. This is the front of the chain. This is the back of the chain. Okay, we're going to do that one more time. Okay, so again, a slip knot, you're going to just make a loop. You're going to put your fingers through the loop and grab onto the working yarn. We're going to pull the working yarn through and grab both ends and pull. And then you can insert your hook and pull on the working yarn, and that is what tightens the loop onto your hook. Don't make the loop too tight because it's going to be very difficult for you to get your crochet hook through the loop. Especially if you're a beginner, tension is everything, and so just be gentle and easy. And this is yarn over because you're over the hook. Okay. I'm going to do that one more time. My preferred way, which is making a loop with my fingers. That. And then I grab onto the working yarn coming from the yarn ball and I pull it through that loop. And then right here, I'm going to insert my hook and I'm going to pull the working yarn very gently and tighten that up. And again, I'm going to use my middle finger and my thumb to hold very close to the knot, going to use my other index finger to hold the loop onto the hook, and my left index finger is my tension. So you want to make sure, especially in the beginning as you're making your chains, that you're not keeping your yarn up top where the hook is very narrow, because it's going to make it 100 times harder to get your hook head through the loop. You want to make sure with every chain stitch you're bringing your yarn all the way down to where it is much wider. So we're going to yarn, pull through, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. And then as I progress down the chain, I do move my fingers closer to the knot about every 5 to 7 stitches. That was 3. Because I want to make sure that all of my stitches are uniform and facing in the same direction. You do not want some chains facing forward like this, and then some chains with the back bump in the front. And so I will show you how that looks. Let's do a couple more. You see how it's got that little indentation there? It's because my yarn is twisted, and so you see. So as you're crocheting, you want to make sure that you keep your yarn facing in the same direction. Your tension is very easy. So see, again, I'm going to make a loop, and I'm going to grab my working yarn and pull it through. Put my hook through the loop. I'm going to pull to tighten, and we're going to make sure that we are pulling all the way through and coming back down. All the way through and pulling back down. Okay. And you don't want it to be too loose either. So as you're crocheting, you want to make sure that you're pulling a little bit. Otherwise, you can end up with something like this. You see how it's a little loose here, and then the back bump is in the front here. So we want to make sure that as we're going through that we are just very relaxed and easy. I'm going to make one final slip stitch for you. Okay, and then I'm going to pull to tighten, and here we go. So now we're going to do, that's 1. And that is 30 chain stitches. pretty uniform. If there are any stitches that you would like me to show you in this close-up view, please leave a comment below and I will make sure that I give you a little tutorial on how to do those stitches. Thank you so much for watching.